Hey guys, what is up? Roshi is here. Today we're taking a look at my Wyatt Shrine deck. This is a take on an old deck I used to play. It was called Shrine to Karvet, and I have a YouTube video for that if you want to see the older version. But we're getting a spicy new site now, and in the form of Wyatt's Junkyard. In this particular iteration, I'm opting to run it in the market, but you could totally play it in the main deck too. Feel free to adjust the deck as you see fit. But I opted to put it in the market just so that I could get it more often. And yeah, so let's just take a look at the list. We've got a lot of similar themes here. We've got Grenadin and Totemites. These just seem to be some of the best ways to go wide in the format. Happy to have these cards and just give us a lot of material to work with and a lot of units to sacrifice. Grenadin Drone just being a 1-drop, super helpful as well. It's just cheap. Generates 2 bodies, and gives you a lot of material to sacrifice with your strange burglars, your Kindling Carvers, and Devour. Also Combust. So just a lot of sacrifice synergy going on here, and so the more bodies we can pump out, the better. Next up, we've got Kato. With all these bodies we're generating, it's not too hard to get to 12 dudes in the void. And when you get to that point, and you combine Kato with Shrine and other sacrifice effects, you can get a really big swingy turn later on in the game. We've got a lot of card advantage and a lot of ways to get there. You just got to survive that long and hold down the board, and you're good to go. We also have Jekk. He just happens to be, for whatever reason, the best removal spell Fire's ever had, and also a creature. Bonus points if you give him +2 lifesteal, double damage, and charge. That's something that will surely win you the game. Unless you're really far behind. Jekk's just super versatile, being able to kill things and replace himself. He does too much. I usually complain when people play him against me, but this is just kind of the perfect deck to slide him in. Our power is pretty decent, so thanks to this being a throne deck, it's really not too hard to get the 3 red for Jekk. And then we're playing a few extra sigils, more than we usually would, just so that we can utilize his 4 damage. And moving right along, Strange Burglar, already kind of talked about him, but with Shrine, it kind of makes his second ability not even a downside, and just the raw card advantage drawing 3 will give you is insane. Also, he's just a very strong guy on the stat standpoint too. 4 power for a 5/4 that buffs your whole board. There's some games where we just aggro our opponents out because we just make a bunch of dudes, buff them, swing, and then they have to deal with that attack, and then they have to deal with Strange Burglar, or we start drawing 3. If you're at 6 power too, you can just draw 3 immediately, which is pretty cool. But Strange Burglar will definitely lead to a lot of very powerful turns, especially with Shrine. So definitely a good card for this kind of deck. Next up, we were playing a broker list. We also have etchings to dip into our market, but broker's pretty solid. There's a lot of cards we're happy to broker. If you kind of stall out the game, you can broker Shavka's loot and just start obliterating things and giving all your units like stacking Warcry. Often the first obliterate's enough to win the game, but having a few more in the works is great as well. Voprex's Choice, we can use this to get our Jawbone back, which is pretty solid. Speaking of Jawbone, Brand is one of the best ways to win the game once you've got your Shrine in play. You play Jawbone, you try and tribute it. We have plenty of ways to do that. Use your imagination for that one. And Brand is an 8/6 with Berserk, and if you sacrifice another unit, he gets Overwhelmed. So if we've got a Shrine in play and we play Brand, we are representing 20 points of Berserking Overwhelm damage. That's all lifesteal. Assuming you have literally just one other minion in Brand, but usually you have more going on, and if they don't have a way to like beat the Brand in combat or kill it, they're probably just dead. Like, that's a ton of damage. And the lifesteal's fantastic there too. But we can broker our Voprex's Choice and use it as removal, or use it to get back Jawbones and try and do that later on. So you can like use an early Jawbone to just throw it away, and then use Junkyard or Voprex's Choice to get it back and try and do it again. Talked about etchings, just gives us consistency. We need the most fire for Jekk, so we chose for fire etchings. Also, most of our units are fire, so it's pretty often the only unit that really doesn't let you go to the market is Wasteland Broker. So pretty consistent there. Also, Torrent of Spiders won't either, but they're good in their own way. This is one of the best ways if you're facing like a derpy mid-range deck that has a ton of ground pounders. A big meaty Torrent of Spiders is just gonna wreck them. You can also sacrifice one of them and give them all charge, and then you're attacking with a bunch of lifesteal charging deadly spiders that they like don't want to block, but they have to or they're dead, and they'll just trade with everything, so that's pretty solid. Madness just gives us more tools against the mid-range decks. Stealing their guy and sacrificing it is a good way to win the game. You take their guy, punch them in the face with it, and just sacrifice it, and it's 2 for 1 right there, so that's pretty solid. Assembly line, just more Grenadin, makes 3 bodies for one card. You could play the rat card instead, and it gives you a fire influence, but or in addition, but I'm happy with just assembly line. I prefer to not really have any downsides, and being able to block is pretty important in my opinion, so that's why we're playing assembly line. But it's kind of a quick overview here. One other thing, we've got Betray the Cause. This is a super fun card to broker. Anytime you're brokering a warp card, it's very annoying for your opponent to deal with, for one thing, because you just kind of get the card for free. As long as you're not firing off these like big draw 3s, and even then you don't really mind. But you'll see the card on top of your deck, and by this stage of the game, we already have 4 power, so we can basically play this, and as I like to say, it's free real estate. So Boar is also just a good catch-all. There's a lot of relics flying around. If someone's trying to play World Pyre and give themselves Aegis, as much of a World Pyre fanboy as I am, I don't like losing to it either. So Boar's just the easiest way to do it. You spend 3 power and just drill through their Aegis, and if they've got even more relics, just keep firing. Just pretty solid. There's other attachments you might want to be killing as well, like maybe something's permafrosted and you don't want to sack it, but I digress. This is the list. It's super fun. I recommend it for if you're trying to like grind the ladder and you're looking for a kind of more tokeny deck that also packs a punch against aggro and control. Being able to give all your units charge, you can just kind of win out of nowhere with this deck, and you'll have real fast games, and you're still able to grind when it comes down to it. So I would recommend this deck for laddering and trying to get into, you know, whatever tier you're trying to get into. You could easily get into gold with this, and then if you play enough games, you probably make diamond, and, you know, if you're playing enough, you could probably make masters with this too. It certainly helped me on my grind. But this is the deck. Thank you guys for watching, and I will post the gameplay video down below in the comments, and if you want to see more or see me make these decks live, hop in on my Twitch, and yeah, that's all I got. If you like this video, like, comment, subscribe. If you want to see a different iteration of this or any specific deck, just let me know down in the comments. Also, let me know what cards you would run instead. There's a lot of options here. This is a throne deck, so we have so many different options. What cards did I not include that you maybe would have liked to see? Are you maybe more of a Pale Rider kind of person? But thanks for watching.